Alright guys, Friday, June the 4th, 2021. Welcome back to the channel. Chef Tush here. And before we start the video today, I just wanted to make note of a bit of a milestone on the channel. I've been doing videos on YouTube since 2010, I believe, when I started this channel. And I think we have currently about 864 videos up on the various projects I've had rolling in and out of the garage, plus some cooking videos, etc. And we've just reached the 5,000 plus subscriber threshold, and I just wanted to say how thankful I am to have you as subscribers to this channel, and it means so much to me to have you viewing all of these videos. We're over 2 million plus video views now on the channel as well, which in my mind is absolutely unbelievable. So just wanted to give you a quick thank you to all of my subscribers. Coming out here every day and working on these cars is my passion, obviously, but it's so nice to be able to interact with you in the comments section, and I do my best to respond to your comments, which are primarily, 99% of you are very positive and very kind in your comments. I've learned a lot from watching a lot of other YouTubers out there, and I've definitely learned a lot from some of the comments that are shared with me on my channel. So once again, thanks guys for subscribing and watching the videos. Onwards and upwards, we've got lots of interesting projects after the TR250 restoration happens. We're going to get back to the 59 TR3A restoration that I know some of you are waiting for. And then after that, we've got a lineup of TRs, TR8, TR4, and who knows, we've got a Ford Capri in the mix at some point. So stay tuned, and the project will keep rolling through the garage year by year. Onwards and upwards. Thanks guys. Alright, back to my comfort zone behind the camera, and we're continuing on the restoration of my 1968 Triumph TR250 project. A little bit concerned about the weather today. It's okay at the moment, but there's a threat of rain today, and I've got all my panels sitting outside here because I don't have space for them in the garage currently, as I'm just about to start working on the driver's side panels. As I mentioned yesterday in my video that we'd be working on the three panels, the two fenders and the door for the driver's side first, and that's what we've got here up on the stands, obviously the door being out in the driveway. But I wanted to make sure that we hit the inside of this fender first with some epoxy primer, so that's what we're working on now. I got a little bit of sanding to do in this area before we scuff this up and get into black epoxy. It is the only fender that needs it, so I'm happy to report that the other three are already black epoxy primered, which is good. Saves me a little bit of work. So that's the first step today, is to get this into black epoxy primer. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave the interiors of the fenders in black epoxy, and then these will be scuffed down eventually, and they will be Raptor linered on the inside. I like that application. That's worked out well for me, and my other two cars that I have on the road currently, the other two TRs, the 1960 Triumph TR3 has the bed liner on the inside, and my TR6, which is the oldest restoration that I've done, has the bed liner on, and it's still looking like the day I applied it. Alright, following the black epoxy primer on the interior, we're going to flip this fender over, we're going to flip the fenders over, and that one door, the driver's side door, and we're going to start working on applying our coats of polyester primer on the exterior panel. So 3 coats of polyester on the exterior, and then we will move on to block sanding that down before we do 3 coats of high build urethane primer. That is the process. Lots of priming, lots of sanding in between, lots of priming, and then lots of sanding, and then we're into color coat, clear coat, and then lots of sanding again with the wet sanding and final buffing and polishing. That's the process. So let's get started on this. We'll grab the DA and get this scuffed up, hoping that it does not rain. Otherwise I'm going to have to scramble to bring those panels in, as mentioned. So we'll keep an eye on the weather. And we'll get this into epoxy, let that dry before we flip it over and start on the top side. Alright, black epoxy primer is dry on the inside of this rear fender. So we're just about to start working on the top sides and starting to sand on those. So we've got this front fender flipped over, and we're just going to get the DA with the appropriate sandpaper on here and scratch that down or scuff that down so we can move on to our polyester primer coats on this fender, that fender, and the one door. So we've got a little bit of work to do before we get to that point, so we better get to it. Alright, we've got our door and our fenders all sanded down and cleaned up, and we're just about ready to mix up the Featherfill G2 polyester primer. Just got the can open. I'm going to give that a good stir and mix up a quart of that and see how far we go. That'll probably give us at least 2 coats on these panels. I'm hoping to get maybe a little more. It'd be nice if I could do all these in 1 quart, but might be a little bit short. But anyway, we'll mix up a quart because that's all we can use, as mentioned in the pot time of this product, which is 35 minutes. So once we put the hardener in, we got to move fast. So we'll get set up, mix the hardener, got the gun ready to go over there with the big 2.3 tip in it, and close the garage doors up, put the mask on, and get ready to spray. Alright guys, just coming up to 7 p.m. and we managed to get everything painted without getting anything rained on outside, so that's a good thing. So these are just drying away. They look pretty good. I'm just thinking about all the sanding I'm going to have to do in the near future, looking at all these panels, and I still have 3 more of them to go. So and that's just the first round of sanding. Of course, I've got to do a high build urethane primer after we block this down and then resand that again. So I'm going to get a definite workout in the next little while as far as sanding is concerned. I'm sure I'm going to be sick of sanding in short order, but has to be done. A little bit of something there. I don't know if that fell off the top of the garage door. Looks like a little hair or something. Seems to be that time of year where there's stuff floating around the garage. We've got bugs coming out. We got dandelions floating around, milkweed pods, etc., etc. So not the best point in time to be painting, but again, I don't really have a choice. I'm going to paint in the garage anyway. Could set up a booth, but I'm too lazy to do that. I've mentioned that in the past. So we'll just deal with what we've got, and hopefully it won't be so bad that I can't sand it out. That's what we do base coat and clear coat for. Alright, that's it for tonight. I know these videos are not getting a lot of views, so obviously the general viewership is not enjoying the primering videos, and I don't necessarily blame you. They're not that interesting to watch, and there's not much I can do to make them exciting. So anyway, hopefully we'll pass this stage fairly quickly and get back to some more exciting stuff like laying color and clear coat on these panels. Alright, that's it for tonight. We'll get back out here tomorrow. Hopefully the weekend's supposed to be really, really warm. Possibly around the 90-ish degree mark and high humidity, so I'm not sure whether I'm going to be able to do any painting or not. But we sure could do some sanding. Alright guys, welcome back. Saturday, June the 5th, 2021. Just after 8 a.m. and trying to get a bit of an early start to the day today, as it's going to be a bit of a scorcher. It's supposed to be 90 plus out in the garage today, so I'm going to try to get our work done out here early today and sort of relax for the afternoon, or find something a little less physical to do for the afternoon at least. So we're going to try to get the remainder of the panels in polyester primer today. So I've got that 1 door and we've got 2 fenders to go. And then we'll be done with the polyester primer on the exterior of the panels, and all of the interior of the panels will be coated as well. So that's a big milestone. So we're going to move all the panels back outside. There's a 20% chance of rain today, so I think we're pretty good as far as it not getting rained on outside. So that's a good thing not to have to worry about. So let's move these panels out and we'll set the garage up and get ready to start sanding in order to get that polyester primer coat on the tops of the remaining panels. just coming up to 1220, and the panels look pretty good. This one's a little stripy. This was the very last panel I sprayed, and the pot life was getting a little short and the product was getting a little thick. So I can see a little bit of stripage in here, but not bad. So it's dried up nicely. Fenders look good. So I think what we'll do is we'll drag those out into the sun for a little bit, help them dry a little bit more. I'm getting lots of little pieces of dust in here. Like I'd mentioned, there's lots of stuff blowing in the wind. Little pieces of dandelion, I think it looks like. So hopefully those are going to be gone when I start getting ready to paint. Otherwise we're going to have some problems. But anyway, there's a few areas that need some attention. I can see a little area here where there's a little bit flat. So I'm sure some of these panels would take a little bit of work, but overall they don't look too bad. So I'm happy about that. A little dent there maybe. Seem to have done pretty well in my my primary bodywork and got most of the bad stuff, and just left with some small little things to take care of. So we'll do that once these have dried, I guess, for a couple of days. Definitely need some bodywork here. This is where I'd shortened this bottom edge of the fender, and I didn't quite do enough bodywork there. We've got a little small dent there as well. So little things to take care of, but nothing major. And we've got the other panels out here in the sun and heat. So next step will be to start doing a little bit of filler work, and we'll break out the Bondo and do these little repairs as we mentioned. And then once we get those areas fixed and the panels blocked down, we'll probably block this initially down to about 220 grit, somewhere around there, maybe 240 grit. I'll have to look and see what the U-pole primer, so the urethane primer, I think it might be a 240 grit scratch, but I'll go back and I'll look at the technical sheet. So whatever the scratch is required for the next level of primer, which will be the U-pole urethane primer, we're going to block this down to that scratch. So I think, like I mentioned, I think it's about 240. So that's it for now, guys. We'll move these panels outside for a little bit. There's no threat of rain, so we'll move them outside, let them dry, and then we'll drag them back in later on this afternoon and this evening, and then probably get out here tomorrow and start wholeheartedly doing some more body work. Oh, the joy. Alright, all basking out in the sun. Now the boot and the bonnet are kind of in the shade. That's where I'd want to be today. Looks good. Get them all lined up. Alright, I guess we'll call this video done for now. So we'll upload what we've got, and we'll get back out here tomorrow. Thanks for watching.